Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Jenna Bush Hager's reflections on failure, parenting, and identity. The strength in falling. Jenna Bush Hager sat on her living room couch, staring at her laptop screen. The glow from the desk lamp illuminated her face, casting long shadows across the room. It was late, later than she'd meant to stay up, but sleep felt impossible tonight. She had just finished watching the playback of her Today Show interview with Monica Lewinsky. In it, she had spoken candidly about her biggest concern as a mother, the fear that her children would never experience failure the way she had. She had told the world that failure was her superpower. But now, sitting in the stillness of her home, she couldn't help but wonder, was she doing enough to teach her children that? Was she allowing them the same space to fall and learn from it? The sound of small feet padding across the hardwood floor interrupted her thoughts. She looked up to see her eldest Mila standing in the doorway, clutching a book to her chest. "Mom?" Mila whispered, her voice sleepy but insistent. Jenna closed her laptop and patted the space next to her. "What is it, baby?" Mila hesitated before climbing onto the couch, tucking herself into Jenna's side. "I couldn't sleep," she admitted. "My brain won't stop thinking about stuff." Jenna smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "What kind of stuff?" Mila fidgeted with the hem of her pajama sleeve. "School, and just everything. I feel like I have to be really good at everything all the time." Jenna's heart ached at her daughter's words. 11 years old, she thought, already feeling the pressure. "You don't have to be good at everything," she said gently. "That's not how life works." Mila sighed. "I know, but at school it kind of feels like that. Like if I don't get the best grades, or if I mess up in dance, or if I say something embarrassing, everyone remembers it forever." Jenna bit her lip. She had lived that reality. Her mistakes had been headline news. She knew exactly what her daughter meant. "I get it," Jenna said after a moment. "But you know what? You're going to mess up, and that's okay." Mila frowned. "But what if people make fun of me?" Jenna reached for her daughter's hand and squeezed it. "Then you hold your head high and remind yourself that mistakes don't define you. How you handle them does." Mila stayed quiet for a moment, then looked up. "Did you ever fail when you were a kid?" Jenna let out a soft laugh. "Oh, so many times." Mila's eyes widened. "Like what?" Jenna thought for a moment, then grinned. "Okay. Once, when I was in 3rd grade, I was so sure I knew the answer to a spelling bee word. I walked up, said the word, and spelled it with complete confidence." Mila nodded. "And?" Jenna chuckled. "I got it totally wrong, in front of everyone." Mila's mouth dropped open. "What did you do?" "I turned bright red, sat down, and tried really hard not to cry," Jenna admitted. "But you know what? It wasn't the end of the world. A week later, I barely even thought about it anymore." Mila tilted her head. "So you're saying if I fail a test, I shouldn't freak out?" Jenna nodded. "Yep, because one bad grade doesn't mean you're not smart. One embarrassing moment doesn't mean you're doomed forever. It just means you're learning." Mila sighed, thinking it over. "I guess." Jenna smiled. "Want to know something else?" Mila nodded. "I used to be terrified of public speaking, and now it's my job." Mila looked surprised. "Really? But you're so good at it." "Only because I messed up so many times," Jenna said. "I've lost my place in speeches. I've said the wrong thing on live TV. I've had moments where I wanted to run off the stage." "But you didn't," Mila said. "Nope," Jenna agreed. "Because I learned that failure doesn't break you. It makes you stronger." Mila thought about that for a long time. Then she let out a yawn and leaned into her mother's side. "Okay," she murmured. "I'll try to remember that." Jenna pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "That's all I ask." She stayed there, holding her daughter, listening as Mila's breathing slowed into sleep. And as she sat in the quiet of their home, Jenna made a silent promise to herself. She would teach her kids to embrace failure, not fear it. Because in the end, the strongest people were the ones who had fallen and gotten back up again. The hardest lesson. The next morning, the Bush Hager household was buzzing with the usual morning chaos. Poppy, 9, was arguing with Hall, 5, over who got to pour the syrup on the pancakes, while Henry was flipping through the newspaper with one hand and sipping coffee with the other. Jenna sat at the kitchen island, helping Mila pack her backpack for school. "Are you ready for your math test today?" Jenna asked. Mila groaned, "I guess." Jenna smiled knowingly. "Just do your best, kiddo. And remember, even if you mess up, it's not the end of the world." Mila shot her a look. Yeah, I know. Failure is a learning experience." Jenna laughed. "Exactly." That afternoon, when Mila walked through the front door, her face was red, her eyes brimming with frustration. She slammed her backpack onto the floor. "I failed," she announced. Jenna set down the book she was reading and stood up. "Your test?" Mila nodded, her jaw tight. "I got a C, Mom. A C." Jenna suppressed a smile. She knew how big of a deal this felt to Mila. "I'm sorry, baby," she said. "But you know what I'm going to say, right?" Mila crossed her arms. "That failure isn't the end of the world." Jenna grinned. "Yep." Mila groaned. "But Mom, I studied, and I still messed up." Jenna kneeled down to Mila's level. "Okay, so tell me, what did you get wrong?" Mila hesitated, then sighed. "I made a dumb mistake on one of the word problems, and I ran out of time on the last question." Jenna nodded. "So now you know what to watch out for next time." Mila scowled. "That doesn't make me feel better right now." Jenna wrapped an arm around her daughter's shoulders. "No, probably not. But I promise, a year from now, you won't even remember this test." Mila frowned. "Are you sure?" Jenna laughed. 100%. Mila exhaled sharply, then finally cracked a small smile. "Okay, I guess I'll survive." Jenna grinned. "That's my girl." The bigger picture. That night, after all 3 kids were tucked in, Jenna sat on the porch with Henry, sipping a cup of tea. The night air was cool, the city lights twinkling in the distance. "She took that test pretty hard," Henry remarked. Jenna sighed. "Yeah, but I think she'll be okay." Henry glanced at her. "You know, I think about what you said on the show the other day, about failure being a gift." Jenna nodded. "It is, but it's hard to let your kids fail, you know? My first instinct is to fix things for them, to protect them." Henry reached for her hand. "But you're right, we can't." Jenna squeezed his fingers. "Yeah, we just have to let them fall sometimes, and trust that they'll get back up." Henry smiled. "Well, if they're anything like their mom, they will." Jenna chuckled. "Let's hope so." And as she sat there, listening to the sounds of their home settling into the night, she felt something close to peace. Her children would struggle, they would stumble, but they would rise, because that was the greatest lesson she could teach them. That strength wasn't about never falling. It was about having the courage to stand back up.